Saturday afternoon, and then Texas A&M last night. 12 hits in 12 innings of work, 5 earned runs allowed through the first couple of games as Jenna Laird steps in, the starting shortstop. Recently named to the All-SEC second team, so that's 4 years in a row, All-SEC honors for Jenna.
She's been such a huge part of their offense and has so many tools that she can do. Hit the ball in the gap. She's got short game, the speed, the swim moves.
Oh, a career .350 hitter. She's got a hit in all 3 of their games so far in the tournament. Out of East Meadow, New York. They've got 3 New Yorkers on the roster after Larissa Anderson's success at Hofstra. Nice snag at third. Kowalewski with a web jam, 1 down.
Love the way Kowalewski, look at this, it's a snow cone. You talk about great reacts. This ball is just flying and she gets that leather on it, pulls that in. And I love the way the freshman is supporting her teammate. A lot of freshmen on this club, both of them just having outstanding campaigns.
Alex Honnold, All-SEC performer this year after All-America honors last season, keeping Ariel busy at third, 2 down.
Distribution heat map. So those aren't just her strikeouts, it's where she gets her out. She induces a lot of pop flies. A lot of it is because she does live in the upper half of the zone. The only one little check mark that when she keeps the ball in the park, she's her best. Obviously, she's given up 21 home runs this year because she is a little bit more up in the zone.
Check swing from Gallagher, fouls it off. Maddie out of Port Washington, New York. Couple of years at South Carolina, now her second season at Missouri. During the regular season in mid-April, the Tigers took 2 of 3 from the Gators, their first series win against Florida in 10 years. Gallagher rips one out to right field, and Katie Kistler. And she bats third behind Kendra Falby and Corby Otis. Top of this order, as good as it gets. 1 through 5, all conference first teamers this year. And they face Lauren Krings. Already a couple of starts here at the SEC tournament. Right-hander out of Loveland, Colorado, 13-7 on the season. It is noteworthy that winning 2 out of 3 against Florida in the regular season, this pitching staff and defense held the Gators to only 8 runs, their lowest scoring series of the season.
That's saying a lot because this is a Gator offense that has put up a lot of crooked numbers on a lot of folks.
They only gave up a couple of home runs in those 3 games. Already some activity. You know, hearing from Missouri, it's all hands on deck today.
Absolutely.
They're ready with 2, 3, 4 pitchers if necessary as Falby grounds out, 1 down.
Has really worked a backdoor curveball as well as a drop low in the zone, and Larissa Anderson thinks that's one of the reasons why Krings is having such a good year.
Can they talk to her about not worrying so much about that pinpoint location and allowing her body to just throw more free, which is what's given her. She's got more spin, more movement, especially in the back half of the season.
Corby Otis.
And that's the pitch she's going to have to locate today. That's her changeup, comes in 58 to 60 miles an hour. It's going to need to keep that low in the zone.
Krings got the win against Ole Miss. Also threw 4 2/3 innings against LSU yesterday. Fly ball out to center field. Honnold is there. 2 down. Here's a look at Tim Walton. 5 times an SEC tournament champion. That is tied with Patrick Murphy at Alabama for the most for a coach. So a win today would put him in the top spot by himself. He's getting ready to spend the summer with the USA national team. And then next fall, heading into the Coaches Hall of Fame.
Well deserved. I think when it was announced, I was like, wait, he hasn't been inducted
How
yet?
is he not there yet?
Exactly.
Also noteworthy for the Gators, their last 5, well, all their SEC champions went on to go to the World Series. So it bodes well. Wallace drills one, and that gets over the head of Langer, and she's headed for second and will slide in safely. Runner in scoring position with 2 down here in the first for the Gators.
Yeah, and this is just a bad read. You watch right field, Katie Langer, the reaction that she has, it freezes her. Skylar Wallace hits this ball hard. She came in 2 steps, then froze. If she had stayed in the position she was in, she would have caught it. It was hit right at her. Another hard hit ball from Skylar Wallace. 16 double this season, and she has been red hot here at the tournament.
Yeah, how about 6 for 7 now for Wallace at the plate? And Florida threatening to take the early lead. Jocelyn Erickson, the SEC Player of the Year, at the plate. 5 RBI already in the tournament for Erickson. Also named to the all-defensive team as the top catcher in the conference. Kring's on top, 0-2.
It'd be interesting to see where they throw the power lefties. One of the things that Coach Larissa Anderson was talking about with those lefties, they're going to challenge them on the inner half. She just said we need to make sure we really throw it on the inner half and make sure it's not over the middle of the plate. She knows that Erickson is strong low and in, going to try and work her up and in.
Ground ball to short. Laird is there. And that ends the threat.
Hitting .327 with 17 home runs. But more importantly, he said, we stopped looking at the scoreboard. I specifically told the team the scoreboard doesn't matter. We are going to be aggressive in our swings, not playing small ball. And those aggressive swings have paid off. They are clearing the fences every chance they get.
Thank you, Holly. A fly out for Abby Hay to start out the second. Yeah, how about that jump over the last few weeks from an RPI of 19 to an RPI of 8. That is one of the big pieces of criteria, actually 2 big pieces of criteria for the selection committee, your RPI and how you finish the season, to the point where we think the Gators now have played their way into a top 8 seed.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
Yep. And here's the other thing too, for Missouri, after their 2 wins yesterday, they also jumped into the top 8 in RPI. Is it possible that the SEC gets all 13 teams into the field? It's happened 3 times. Do they get 7, 8, 9 hosts? They've actually had 9 seeded teams back in 2018. They've had the depth year in and year out. Do they have that team at the top? It's been 6 years since an SEC team was in the Champ Series, 8 years since Florida won the last championship in 2015.
When they won that national championship, it was a good run from Alabama as well, winning a couple in there in the 5 years previous. So it kind of felt like the SEC was going to take over, and it's been quiet since.
The emergence of the Oklahoma Sooners in the Big 12, and a strikeout for Rothrock. That's her first. 2 down.
Freshman going back upstairs. This is that rise ball that she can throw. Look at the rotation and the spin on that, the way she gets underneath of it. Long stride, she releases this pitch from low to high, and that's what gets into the eyes of the hitters. It makes it look like it's going to be at your belt. You realize it's at your eyes, and you're swinging through it.
Stefania Abruscato, first pitch swinging. There's a look at her pitch repertoire. A lot of rise balls and then the curve and drop ball right behind.
So a lot of times you're looking up, but she can also fool you down the lower half of the zone.
9 strikeouts so far in the tournament, 6 of those on the rise ball.
And she's been efficient too. I think that's the other thing that we've seen. When she's successful in the circle, she's not putting a lot of runners on, limiting the free passes.
Pop up right side. Williams settles under it. And the first 6 in a row. It's 4 to be unveiled tomorrow. Our 2 hours of coverage starting at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 with the selection show. Winner of this one gets the automatic bid. The other one in as an at-large. Reagan Walsh to start things off for Florida. 5-6-7 against Lauren Krings. Always great to watch the reactions when teams win. That we're in the middle, by the way, of our 5 games coming your way today. We've already seen Charlotte win the American. Duke, congrats, the ACC champs. Walsh. Oh, it gets through Laird at short. And the E6 gives the Gators a base runner.
Yeah, ball hit really, really hard right at Laird. Laird, one of the best in the business at creating that separation, fielding balls, but this one just goes off the heel of her glove, pops into the outfield. They're going to call that an error.
Comes Ava Brown, freshman from Montgomery, Texas. Got under it. Honnold coming on, will call it off Laird, and it drops behind him. That is the 2 seniors who have been together in the starting lineup their entire career, and they whiff on it.
One thing we have not seen a lot of here with outfield is communication, and neither one is calling it, and they're both looking at each other. This is all Alex Honnold's center field. She would have been camped under it. She pulls up. I don't know if she heard something from Laird. That's hers all the way. They're lucky she stayed with it and still got an out.
They'll give her a hit because nobody touched the ball, but a mental error in your scorebook. And
yeah.
So we've already seen a couple, actually 3 misplayed balls here in the first couple of innings, and they'll actually score at a fielder's choice.
Ball. Yeah, I'm glad they called that a fielder's choice, because that should be an out.
Katie Kistler.
And go back to that play. That's Alex Honnold, the center fielder, saying to Jenna Laird, you called it, which she can call it all day. It's your ball. You got to call her off. And
yeah, she's saying, you can read her lips, I thought you called it.
Alex didn't say anything.
Looking to turn 2 and erase the mistake, and Kistler quick to the bag. 2 down. That'll bring up Ariel Kowalewski.
Yeah, it was a good recovery by Mizzou to obviously get the out. But on the flip side for Florida, I was surprised Brown was swinging first pitch, non-productive out, popping in the air.
She's got the 2 home runs against Krings. She's seen her the best.
Yeah.
Florida team that's got so much home run power. Ava Brown's the only one that's homered. How much fun they had going to that Braves game, coming into the SEC tournament. It was on the way, stopping in Atlanta. Tim Walton wanted that kind of team bonding. You hear about that a lot preseason, but to get that as you're headed into the postseason, I said it was a really fun trip.
Ball.
This is their 4th game of the year against Missouri. They have not hit well with runners in scoring position. They do not have a hit in any of the 4 games with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. It's tough to advance people against this Missouri pitching staff.
So it'll be interesting to see in this game if they actually try to move runners into scoring position. Stealing. This is a very fast team, 99 stolen bases on the year, but have yet to have stolen a base here in the SEC tournament. They've been hitting home runs. They haven't needed to.
So here is a runner in scoring position for the 2nd inning in a row. They stranded Wallace out there in the 1st. And it's Mia Williams, the number 9 hitter, who bashed a home run yesterday in the semis. And Larissa Ander.
So look at the amount of feet covered all the way back to Gainesville. They can make it with the amount of home runs they've hit.
Yeah, Wilkie's actually the longest at 286. Second chance in the game for the Gators to push one across. Misses away. 1-1.
And I think that's where they're going to try to get Williams on the outer half. He's got a lot of power on the inner half.
Scoots away from the catcher Crenshaw. The runners will advance. Pass ball, and now that first run of the game at third base. Two and two.
Nice curveball in the outer half, trying to stretch that zone. Williams covering it.
Just fouling everything out. Smitty, she's looking for something a little bit more middle. A mistake, really. Because you can tell Krings does not want to give her that.
Right down the middle and over the top of the scoreboard for Mia Williams. A 3-run home run with 2 outs. And the Gators jump on top.
She got what she wanted. I mean, 4 foul balls, 5 foul balls. Just kept fouling off everything away off the plate. And again, 2 strikes. This is where you talk about a true battle from the freshman. Look at the location. I mean, that is cookie zone central. Middle in, belt high. Mia's saying, thank you. That's 2 home runs in 2 days for the Froshy.
Yeah, and that's the same pitch that she hit out yesterday for her 4th home run. This is her 5th home run of the year, and it's all about location. You have to challenge her on the outer half. She's been fouling those off. You try to get her on the inner half, you've got to make sure it's above her hands, or she does that. Blast it out of the park.
A towering shot over the scoreboard for Florida.
81 miles per hour. She almost hit that 300 feet, 296.3.
Wow.
How'd they measure that so quick?
Most of their runs in the tournament coming courtesy of the home run ball, and they have set a new SEC tournament record for the field, 20 home runs here in Auburn. Our championship week winding down. We've got the Big 12 title next. The Pac-12 championship game coming up. So that's Texas, Oklahoma, and then UCLA, Utah still to come. All building towards the selection show tomorrow night. Our crew will be there with Amanda Scarborough. Starts at 7 Eastern. 2 hours of coverage unveiling the bracket. Here's Cara Daly, 7-8-9. How does Mizzou respond to the Mia Williams 3-run home run? And some shaky defense, all the runs unearned. Keegan Rothrock has retired the first 6 she has faced. Yesterday, she went through the lineup one time completely unscathed. She's had a bunch of 1, 2, 3 innings, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, she's had 10 of 15 innings so far, which is amazing. It's almost like that was set up, handed to me on a platter. Because I always like to talk about those 1, 2, 3 innings. That's, you know, for pitchers that can throw, that's what whip is all about, right? Walks and hits per innings pitched. Those 1, 2, 3 innings help lower that whip tremendously. People aren't on base, they can't score.
Swing and a miss. Rothrock goes up.
Just likes to say that cookie zone, but you realize that that cookie jar is snapping shut.
That is a rise ball. Perfectly described. And honestly, Missouri is one of the better rise ball hitting teams. They hit 290 against the pitch. That's actually one of the best in the SEC, and it shows how good, enticing Rothrock's rise ball is. She's got that unique way that she pitches too, the way she squats down. You don't see that very often. Talking to Chelsea Dobbins, the pitching coach, she was saying how it's something that she uses to really get in her legs and identify the strength that she has.
Little flare out to left, and that'll drop on the dirt. Let's send it over to Holly Rowe.
Well, Keegan Rothrock has had to overcome some injuries to her lower leg. She was pitching in high school, having intense pain in her calves, and they found out that she was 1% of the population to have compression syndrome in all 4 of her limbs. She ended up having surgeries to relieve some of that pressure where the muscle gets too big for the fascia. She got a big infection in that leg, and she has really had to come back from that rehab. That's a very unique injury, less than 1% of the population infected, but Keegan Rothrock has shown some real resilience. Not sure if that impacts why she uses her legs this way, but she's definitely had some issues with her legs.
Thank you, Holly. Kaylee Langer lays down a beauty of a bunt, and it's going to get all the way out to right field, but the base runner, Cahalan, didn't see the ball. 2 on with 1 out.
Well, this bunt goes down, and this is just perfectly placed because Mia Williams is coming over. You can see Mia Williams exactly looking at the bag, not at the ball. And we always like to say it's first ball, bag, and then back up. That's the order. You got to go to the ball first. Williams goes to the bag. Brown cannot get to it. Rothrock goes, but then she can't get to it. So perfectly placed. But I'm surprised here. That she did not go. Cahalan had the opportunity to go, and I think Larissa Anderson was also wondering why she did not see that in advance. Now, granted, the play is behind her, but that's where you got to look at your coach.
I think she's surprised that on a bunt she had the opportunity to get to third base, but you're right, paying attention at all times.
So a big moment here with the top of the order coming back up. In Missouri's 2 wins over Florida in the regular season, they were both come from behind victories. So they got something cooking as Laird returns to the batter's box. Lined out her first time up. Great catch at third by Kowalewski.
She's been swinging it really good against Arkansas, single and a double.
Center field, Falby goes back to the track and makes the catch, slamming into the wall. Wallace, they had a chance to get the base runner at first as Langer was all the way on Cahalan's tail at second base.
I mean, Jenna Laird, she put a charge into this. Remember, she's not a home run hitter. This is the pop you're going to see from her. But how about Kendra Falby? Knowing where the wall is, the jump, the read, beautiful job of making this catch against the wall in the air. That is textbook on how to make a grab, taking away a double from Jenna Laird.
Beautiful.
Cahalan did not tag, so she stays at second base. Still an RBI opportunity here for Alex Honnold.
It's a good take by Honnold. You could see her hands start after that rise ball, and she identifies it, comes back.
Getting some action here in the third inning. Honnold pops it up, and coming on to make the catch is Kaylee Langer. Side retired. A home run, kind of a bummer.
Man.
So
And we're done.
many.
And we're done. Corby Otis.
That was my favorite one. You ended it with the best.
Always got to keep your thesaurus handy. Corby's 0 for 1, a fly out to center in the first. 3 runs for the Gators in the last inning on a 3-run home run for Mia Williams. Missouri made some noise in the top half of this inning, hurt themselves a little bit, and couldn't cash in. Otis looking for a gapper. All the way back off the top of the wall in right center. And she's going to try for third. On the hesitation in the outfield, she gets there.
Corby Otis just missed one. Her first at bat flying out to center. She just misses another one from being a home run. Look where it hits the wall. Talking maybe an inch from going over. I love, we were talking about base running, heads up, looking at Tim Walton. He was sending her as soon as he saw the hesitation and the bobble coming in.
And now it's Skylar Wallace. Ball. Doubled off the wall out and right her first time up. It's the 5th triple this year for Corby. Skylar now has extended her hitting streak to 8 straight, batting over 500 during that stretch.
Boy, and this is a tough situation defensively for Missouri. Look, they're going to have their middles all the way in, but with Skylar Wallace up, she hits the ball harder than 99% of all D1 athletes to be able to shoot that past them. But situation, you can't let the Gators put too many more runs up on the board. They've got to be in.
I don't know, but Smitty, I almost play my chances because of what you just said. I mean, you could play her deeper. You're in for Skylar Wallace, can still throw out a runner at home because of how hard she hits the ball.
And I think it's also due to Corby Otis and her speed as well. She's quick.
Being very careful with Wallace, and they'll walk her. Oh, 3-1. Skylar thought that was ball 4. She'll refocus.
Missouri thought it was ball 4.
Ground ball knocked down at second by Gallagher, not in time at first, and Otis comes in to make it 4-0.
And if this goes down as an error, this is another unearned run. I mean, this is exactly what Missouri wanted to at least be able to get the out.
Yeah, and you know, Jess, it's funny because when you look at what's going on with Mizzou, you can tell they're just a little bit uncomfortable. Otis's hit, 0-2. The home run, a mistake.
Sloan Erickson grounded to short her first time up. Ball. McCann worked out of a tough spot in her relief appearance against Arkansas, also threw 2 innings against LSU yesterday. Got to be wary of Skylar Wallace at first base, amongst the Power 5 conferences, the most stolen bases in the country. Laird elevates and gets it at short, 1 down.
50 miles an hour, and because of that spin speed, it looks like it's coming in much harder. She's done a very good job here at this SEC tournament. First time ever out here for the freshman. Earlier in the tournament, she came in a big situation, a bases loaded jam, and was able to work out of it.
Reagan Walsh reached on an error. Her first time up. 1 for 6 so far in the tournament. Out of Redondo Beach. Has really elevated her game, both average and power numbers this year. Tim Walton said step one was to get stronger. Really made an investment in herself in the offseason. Paying off. Holly Rowe.
Well, Marissa McCann comes into this game. She is a Columbia, Missouri native. She lived there until she was 11 years old and moved to Surprise, Arizona after that. But she always had dreamed of playing in the gold and black. Really great story on Division I softball about her return home. She played for a Kansas City select softball team, and Larissa Anderson saw her there. She offered her. She was like, oh, it's a dream come true. She's grown up wanting to wear this uniform for most of her life. And when she got back to campus, got back to Columbia, she said, I didn't even need a GPS. I was driving around, drove by my old childhood home, went by the driveway. I knew my way around town. The comfort level is high, and she is proud to be rocking the gold and black.
Yeah, Holly, and she was really successful against Florida in the series earlier this year in April. Gave up just 1 hit in 21 batters faced. And of course, that hit was to Skylar Wallace, who obviously is one of the best hitters on the Gators team. Also just 1 walk. So,
well, and just the 4 strikeouts. So, I mean, she really relied a lot on her defense. Did a good job pitching strikes against a team that they walk a ton because no one wants to give them anything close to the strike zone. She's got a ton of confidence.
2-2. Walsh waits on it. Down the line and hauled in by Cahalan. That'll chase Wallace all the way back to the base. 2 down. And now are they?
So what happened is Skylar Wallace ran out and she touched second base, and when she ran back to first base, she did, watch right here, she touches first base. She sees the ball is caught and runs back. So after she touches second base, she has to go back and...
Well, Coach Walton, you're on pace to break the school record for batting average. You're getting hits and power throughout the lineup. But how about the freshman, Mia Williams, big time today? How has she impressed you?
Yeah, really since the last weekend of the series against Texas A&M, she's really just seems that school's over. So she's had her final. She's got her stuff ready. She did really well in the classroom. So I think she's just got a little bit more softball in her now, just being able to play a little bit more free, a little bit more easy. We've made so many just little tiny adjustments along the way, you know, not necessarily like grasping at straws, but just trying to give her, you know, coach her up and just keep her positive. She's had a really good season. Just the batting average just hasn't been there. Practices have been great. She's really done a good job in the cages, in practice, everything we do.
And again, your freshman in the circle, Keegan Rothrock, just continues to impress. What do you see from her early in this game, keeping them at bay?
Yeah, well, obviously we've made some really good plays. You know, Kendra made a really spectacular player there in center. We just got to continue to change speeds, change eye levels with these guys. They're coming out. I mean, I don't know how many pitches he's thrown so far, but it hadn't been a whole lot, so we got to do a good job of keeping them off balance.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks. Go Gators.
36 pitches, as a matter of fact, for Keegan Rothrock.
We got you, Coach. We got you.
First time through the lineup, plus a couple, so she'll see 3, 4, and 5 here in the top of the 4th. Down now 4-0. Trying to win their first SEC championship. Florida going for a 6th, which would tie Alabama for the most in the 27-year history of this tournament.
She's about to face Maddie Gallagher, who's really the only one that's had success against her this year, going back to their series. 2 for 5. She's been hot here. A couple walks, 400 average against Rothrock.
Well, it bodes well for the winner of this game and Tennessee, the regular season champion. 16 times in 27 years, the SEC champions have gone on to reach the World Series once the NCAA tournament starts. So it's been a good indicator. Selection show Sunday night, and then the regionals next weekend. Followed by the Supers and the Women's College World Series starting May 30th from Oklahoma City. Oh, off of Rothrock, and the ricochet out into right field. Gallagher on first.
Number 36, Abby.
See if they get your knees or below as a pitcher. You just don't have time to get your glove down there. It's typically where you can get hit the most because just the amount of time it would take you to try to bend down. You're so close at about 34, 35 feet at release.
Abby Hay stepping in for Missouri. Tim Walton has been so pleased with the resilience and the bounce back ability of these young Gator pitchers. Rothrock and Ava Brown, don't worry about being perfect. Just go out there and compete every day. It's been such a breath of fresh air. The rookies and the transfers have had a major impact on a big rebound for Florida after a disappointing season a year ago. To come back and finish this strong and compete for another SEC
team. Then they went back and had a little revenge against Florida State. They got a 15-13 run win in 9 innings against Tallahassee's star players. And, you know, they've just every step along the way, they've been able to redeem themselves, show resilience. And Tim Walton just says, hey, I'm so proud of this group. Resilience is the biggest part of our team.
Yeah, their last 9 games have been against ranked teams, and they are 8-1 over that stretch.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier, their RPI because of that has just really, how do you say it, gone up, I guess, or they're in the top 8.
Yeah.
I think it's to be expected too. They've so many new players that they rely on. We've talked a lot about the freshmen, but also the transfers that are new to this team, new to Tim Walton, who's very unique in the way he coaches.
A strikeout of Abby Hay. 1 down.
I think Abby Hay was looking outside, and Rothrock comes back in with this screwball right underneath her hand. She's frozen on that pitch. Really good job of framing it up as Erickson behind the dish.
Here's Julia Crenshaw, strikeout victim on the rise ball in the 2nd inning. It's been a bit of a similar story this year for the Tigers and Larissa Anderson as they try and go from worst to first. They were the last place team in the SEC a year ago. Crenshaw over the head of Otis. Motoring around as Gallagher to third and sliding in safely with the double, Julia Crenshaw. As they threaten to get right back in this thing.
Beth, you talked about she struck out on the rise ball, but if you watch Julia Crenshaw in this at bat against the same pitch, watch her hands. She gets even and on plane, so she's hunting this pitch, understanding up in the zone. A beautiful job. Look at how flat this swing is. That's how you're able to catch up to one of the most powerful pitches in the game. Crenshaw, an adjustment, her first at bat striking out on that pitch to absolutely crushing it for a double to left.
So now Stefania Abrascato popped up in the 2nd. First pitch swinging. Should be deep enough to get a run in. The tag for Gallagher. The throw to third not in time to get Crenshaw and a run in.
Great throw in, tagging up on this. Crenshaw getting into third, but that's a close play, and that's where you have to be careful. If she would have been out, that run would not have scored because the tag was applied, and you could see Gallagher's foot then come down on the plate.
There's Cara Daly. Chance to get at least one more in here. Set down in order the first couple of innings, but they're hitting 500 here in the last couple of innings. Trying to become the second team ever to win 4 games in 4 days for the title. Ole Miss did it in 2017. Missouri has already had to beat Ole Miss, Arkansas, and LSU, but they have not scored more than 3 runs in a game yet here. Daly pops it up and caught by Erickson. Championship. They got work to do. They got nails to pound. They're down 4-1. Ava Brown, 6, 7, and 8 for the Gators. This group was a part of that funky second inning when they scored 3 runs and all of them were unearned. Some miscues from Mizzou and a dangerous pop-up here, and finally Daly is able to take charge, 1 down. Well, coming up tonight, NBA playoff action for you. Conference semifinals from the East. The Cavs hosting the Celtics, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. That series all tied up at 1 game apiece. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Cleveland surprising Boston. Big win in game 2 of that series. Head to the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tonight. Here's Katie Kistler. Reached on a fielder's choice, advanced on a pass ball, and then scored on the home run.
Good job trying to read the defense.
This is a Florida offense, top 10 in the country, and every category you could imagine. Batting average, home runs, on base, slug, runs scored, walks. Kistler sends one the opposite way, back to the track, and then turning to make the catches. Cahalan, 2 down.
Loud outs, even for Florida. We've seen 3 balls caught on the warning track. Definitely putting the charge into the softball, even in the ones they're getting out on. Think about it, the bottom of the order is the one that's manufactured the most runs. We see Mia Williams, the home run, but it was Kistler and Kowalewski getting on base ahead of her.
And for Mizzou, 2 errors in this game. They haven't had any in the tournament. So 3 passes really hurting them. The error and then the walk in that inning. The solo shots, I think a lot of coaches can live with. It's when the crooked numbers go up because of the self-inflicted wounds prior that are the painful ones.
Ball.
Marissa McMahon, a very good changeup using that lower half of the zone. When she keeps it low, it really creates great vertical separation between her rise ball above average, and her strike percentage. So that rise ball right there, she throws it for a strike about 71.6% of the time. The SEC average is 55% of the time. So freshman doing a good job getting underneath those rise balls.
Well, it shows you how much spin there is, because if she can throw it as a strike through the strike zone, that's a ton of movement not to get hit.
A lot of foul balls. Just like that.
Here's the 1-2 from McCann. In the dirt.
It's hard as a young freshman pitcher. Sometimes you roll your changeup in there. It's a little inconsistent. I used to just tell myself, well, when I roll it in like that, I'd be like, well, that's really hard to hit. So I'm going to.
I'm going to hurt myself with that one.
Exactly.
That's the mistake you can live with, right?
Missing the direction of the pitch. So if you're throwing, changeup low in the zone, miss low. If you're throwing a rise ball, airmail it over your catcher's head, miss out of the zone in the direction of the pitch. Curve ball, run it into the other box. It's a lot safer in that, missing in the direction of the pitch.
2-2.
Ball.
And the count goes full with the home run hitting Williams on deck. Don't forget, still to come, Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12 championship game, UCLA and Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. Texas, the likely overall #1 seed for the NCAA tournament. Base hit Kowalewski. There's a really good chance that UCLA has done a terrific bounce back and are going to get a top 8 seed.
Just saw another one from Kowalewski to get on base. All those foul balls, she finally poked one through.
Ball.
That is a kind of the MO of Tim Walton's teams, is that they get themselves in leverage counts or they work their way back when they're backwards 0-2, and that's how Kowalewski started that at bat to get to 3-2 and hit. This is a team that has 258 walks on the year. That's a lot. And they're just good at getting in leverage count. They're hard to strike out.
They hit a lot of foul balls. Like, if we could track who has the most foul balls in the NCAA, they've got to be at the top.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating for a pitcher.
100%.
Foul tip.
Because I just think about McCann, that last at bat. I mean, she threw everything that she had.
Yep.
And for Kowalewski, it was just foul it off, and waiting for the mistake. For Mia Williams, in her home run, 2 strikes, fouling off all those outside pitches to get the one she wanted. Like that. That's not the one she wants. That's the one she wants to foul off. She doesn't want to hit an outside pitch. She wants to foul it off and get one she can hit.
She had 2 home runs all year and has now hit 2 here in the SEC tournament. The 9-hole has hit 3 home runs.
Here she go.
Because Wilkie had one as a pinch hitter in one of their games yesterday.
And ironically, she was pinch hitting for Williams. She saw the home run, and then Williams was like, well, I better do that.
I want to stay in this.
Popped up to short, Laird. Side retired.
In this ball game, just a few mistakes that are uncharacteristic of your team. What are you seeing from them in those moments?
Very uncharacteristic. We pride ourselves on defense, and we can't give a team like Florida too many opportunities. And in that one inning, we gave them 5 or 6 outs, and we got to be able to make those routine plays behind our pitchers.
You bring in Marissa McCann, and she has done terrific since she's come in. What are the keys to her success against these Gator hitters?
Just keep working both sides of the plate, spinning the ball so we have easy contact. We don't want to have hard contact, and keeping them off balance with their off speed.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks, MIZ.
Thank you, Holly. And Larissa Anderson, second time in the finals in the last 3 years for Missouri. They didn't have any errors the first 3 games, and now 2 tonight, and a couple of other mental miscues that don't show up in the scorebook. Claire Cahalan is going to lead things off here for the Tigers.
First base.
8, 9, and then the top coming around. Looks like Brooke Barnard out there, the new first baseman for the Gators. That allows Florida, if need be, to move Ava Brown out into the bullpen. But what we've seen so far from Keegan Rothrock, continuing to throw it well here in the SEC tournament, as she has done all year long. Revamped their entire pitching staff. Everybody from last year gone.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. 0 innings pitched, returned 0.
Hey, the Rally Cap crew has your back. They'll break down the SEC Network and your ESPN app. And a punch out for Rothrock as she gets Cahalan one down. That's her 4th.
Number 99,
And working on the outer half. This is a screwball. She likes to throw this to the lefties, try to expand the zone, but I love the way that Rothrock gets that corner, and she gives the reacts to her catcher. Jocelyn Erickson is one of the best in the game at framing those shadow pitches and bringing back into the zone.
Especially across her body. I mean, that side of the plate.
Well, they've meshed so well, the freshman and the transfer, the battery here for Florida.
A lot of it's the way she positions her body. You can see her take a step, and she does a good job keeping her frame lower so the umpire has a good slot to be able to look at the pitches in the plate. And that's a huge thing. A lot of catchers don't realize when they're moving a lot or hopping up to move to a side that you block the umpire's view at times.
Gators were coming off of their worst SEC season, an 8th place finish in the preseason this year, picked in the middle of the pack, and all they do is finish 2nd and are putting on a show at the SEC tournament. They beat Georgia 9-4 in the quarters. They beat Texas A&M 7-3 in the semis, hitting home runs left and right. Another home run ball today. Pulled foul. You know, the selection committee this weekend getting together, they're going to talk a lot about the full body of work. They're going to look at a lot of different metrics like head-to-heads and common opponents, your RPI, your KPI, all a part of your resume. Based on how things are playing out, it would certainly look like top 4 seeds or something along the lines of Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Duke. And then the next 4 that would get to host a regional and a super regional, Missouri's in that conversation with those numbers. Florida, the total body of work for an Oklahoma State. UCLA, if you're talking about head-to-heads with Stanford, the 2 of the top teams out west, you'd have to give the nod to the Bruins as they try and win both the regular season and their tournament title.
Get to see if they can have a little revenge on Utah, who beat them last year, and then went on to punch their ticket to Oklahoma City after UCLA lost in their regional. Utah hosted the super regional.
Kaylee Langer, the 2-2. We like to talk about that regional host bubble as well, a top 16 seed. Well, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Alabama, all in that conversation. Louisiana. Called strike 3.
Rothrock really starting to hit her stride. 5th strikeout of the night, going back inside again. You can see the screwball. Nice tumble on this pitch, really good location. Love the way that Erickson's framing it again.
What you got for us, Holly?
Well, there's some new technology in softball that's been approved this year. You'll see these kind of Apple Watches looking things on their wrists. you could see Rothrock just take a glance down and look at that band. It's called a go route, and it's got a ton of information. The catcher gets it as well. You can see every player on the field has one. They're looking at it, and it has different information for each position. From what pitch needs to be thrown to what position you need to be in your position. They're able to program it. It is a very complex system, and I think it's really good. It's adding to the speed of the game, giving players great opportunity and advancing technology in this sport.
Makes the game go faster as well. I mean, that's probably the biggest difference, Holly, is you think about how long it would take for the coach to give the sign, look down at the big giant wristband and the codes that they had. Now it's direct and let's go.
New addition this year, the digital signaling device. There's several different ones that teams can use. That's a fair ball off the glove of Barnard, and Laird motors around to second.
Jenna Laird, I mean, just keep swinging it too. I mean, she got one taken away to center field. She's been hitting everything hard.
Her first time aboard tonight. Looks like they're going to give her a hit for that. Here comes Alex Honnold. Top two have been quiet prior to this inning. Let's see if they can combo something together here with Maddie Gallagher on deck. And the heart of the order coming around. Honnold pops it up. Erickson and Utah UCLA building towards our selection show tomorrow night on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern for 2 hours of coverage. We'll unveil the field of 64. Can Oklahoma four-peat? What will their road look like? Can the SEC get all 13 teams in? Is there a mid-major ready to cause some mayhem out there?
I think so. Well, we saw it last year, right? San Diego State, Liberty, taking down UCLA.
Yeah, San Diego State played Utah in that super regional, first time in school history.
They won the Mountain West again. They're back. Boston University, I think, a 26-game winning streak. Miami of Ohio chasing a couple of home run records.
Ashers.
Falby. A check swing single out to the left as she's going to stretch it into a double. She is. That's the speed and the awareness of Falby.
Oh, and watch this. I mean, 50%, right? She literally just pokes this, gets to contact to tap it, place it in the left, but then coming around first base, she is thinking second. Watch her eyes. Watch her watch this play. I mean, maybe a half a step of hesitation and then go.
Her first time aboard. Here's Corby Otis dropping down the bunt. Had a good sacrifice. Holly Rowe.
Well, the speed of Kendra Falvey remains a weapon. We asked her, how did you know you were fast? She said, well, when I was a little kid, I got into a fun run with the boys. And when I smoked all the little boys in my fun run, I know I had some wheels. Those have got her on third base right now.
Gosh, I love it.
When I smoked them,
Smoked the boys.
The confidence
and you're done.
and the quickness.
She's smart, too. I mean, not just the speed, but so smart.
Yeah, it's instincts, right? You can always tell those instinctual base runners. She didn't turn her hip. She didn't stop. She looked for the opportunity and took it.
Now a lot of options for Skylar Wallace.
Yes. I love what Tim Walton told us this week when we asked him about who his key players are. He said, when Falby goes, we go heavy. When Falby and Wallace go, we run rule you. And there's something like 29-1 this year when both score in a game.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so I mean, you have all these players could be player of the year. Who's your player of the year? Who's the best player on your team? And look at those numbers when they both score. They're 29-1, 21 wins by 8+ runs. Oof. Those combinations.
That's heavy.
And that's what he said. He's like, it's Falby Wallace.
Wow.
Wallace, straightaway center. Back it goes, and it's gone. Skylar Wallace, 2-run home run for the Gators.
I've seen her hit all season long. And she has been obviously winning the player of the year in the SEC last year. We've seen the talent, but it has not shown up like this until now. So think about for the Florida Gators as they head into the postseason.
Well, if you're going to be hot, you want to be hot now, not at the beginning of the year and fuzzing out here at the end.
In her 273rd career game, that is #1 amongst active players after a season at Alabama, a season on the sideline where she didn't play, and now 3 years at Florida. And they're trying to add to that tally right there. Just having a monster SEC tournament. Here's Jocelyn Erickson. Out into right center on the run. Nice play by Langer. 2 down. Wallace has now driven in Falby 59 times in their careers together. Oh, 55.
And they used to hit back-to-back for a bit. Now they have Corby Otis in between them, which really makes them even tougher to get out.
Ball.
Well, she did not check the swing. They'll change that to a strike. Reached on an error in the second, flew out to center in the third.
Ball.
I think the other thing that makes this team so complex is the amount of power they have from both the left and the right side. So situationally, they're tough to pitch to. Some clubs that are heavy lefties, some clubs that are heavy righty bats.
Anderson out to talk to McCann. So for Florida, 3 home runs in the Georgia win, 2 home runs in the A&M win, and now 2 more home runs today. There is some activity out in the bullpen.
I think the other thing that's impressive about Florida's abilities are not just lefty-righty, but some of them hit the rise ball, the high ball. Others will hit the low ball.
Gallagher hangs on, but more damage.
As a shortstop, what's going to allow her to get first 3 steps to steal a base? That to me is the most important thing when you're working out as a female athlete, one, but secondly as a softball player, and Skylar Wallace has done the work to really understand that. And she's influencing the next generation.
Yep. She's been an SEC Player of the Year. She's been an All-American, trying to win an SEC Tournament Championship, trying to chase that ring in Oklahoma City. And we've talked about it all weekend long.
Ball.
The Los Angeles 2028 Olympics are right in the wheelhouse for some of these players that are graduating or about to or just have graduated. No softball this summer in Paris, but it's back here in the U.S. in 4 years. Ground ball to first. Avery Gels steps on the base. 1 down. Hey, this week's
Ball. Ball.
Abby Hay. 5 hits off of Rothrock today for the Tigers. They've had a couple of chances the last couple of innings, runners in scoring position. Games coming to an end.
Ball. Inside.
Grand Canyon, Chattanooga, Princeton winning the Ivy. St. Mary's as well, headed to the NCAA tournament as Hay draws the walk.
Number 11, Julia Crenshaw.
First free pass of the game given up by Rothrock.
A lot different than the series against Missouri. She gave up 11 free passes in the 2 games she threw.
And I think it was 9 in the first game. 5 walks, 4 hit batters.
You talk about growth as a freshman within just a span of less than a month. That series was mid-April.
Oh, one of the things that Tim Walton talked about this week, right? So many of the young players today struggle with failure, and as you guys know, this is a game of failure. And hey, it's okay. You're going to fall down. It's just about getting back up and learning from the mistakes you've made earlier in the season, so you don't make them again in the postseason.
That's what he said. It's fighting perfection, because they're so worried if because, you know, in your high school career, you are close to perfect. I mean, you dominate. You know, you're not faced with a whole lot of adversity. And
slow roller, but perfectly placed through the right side for Crenshaw, as Williams was already on her way to second base.
Well, and you could see that Williams, take a look at where she's at. She's going to break toward the bag. I'm not sure why, because Hay was not stealing, so I'm not sure why she was hopping back up toward the middle. But that looked like it's going to be a routine out to second base. It sneaks its way through, and
now second time.
Yeah, now the Tigers have runners at first and second.
Second time we've seen her vacate the position to go to the bag.
Well, we saw Florida yesterday open up a big lead over Georgia, and then the Dogs scrapped back before Florida put them away late. Can Missouri put some pressure on here?
Number 4, Danielle Blackstone.
Pinch runner out at second base for Missouri is Danielle Blackston. Bruscato had the sac fly to drive in a run in the 4th. Get Mizzou on the board. Tigers have struggled with runners in scoring position, just 4 of 20 so far in the SEC tournament.
Ball. That's right.
It's our turn to ask Robbie Guest where that pitch was. He's behind the plate. Tom Meyer at first, Chris Neighbors at third. The men in blue tonight. 1-1 to Stefania. Ground ball to Wallace. Hopped up on her, so they'll get the force at second, and that'll be it. 2 down. Blackston over to third.
On to bat. Number 12, Katie Chester.
Got a pinch hitter coming up here, Katie Chester, to hit for Cara Daly. Numbers so far for Rothrock. Just the 1 run allowed.
And that's the pitch that's been the difference maker for today. Just screwball in the inner half, kind of setting up and establishing that inside corner of the plate.
Ball.
Popped up left side. Wallace calls for it. Side retired. A couple stranded for the Tigers. 6-1 Gators. Bump Tim Walton into the top spot. Most SEC tournament championships for a head coach. This is their 10th tournament final. Only LSU has appeared in more with 11. Here's Emily Wilkie. Pinch hitter here, 6, 7, 8 coming up. And McCann scoops over to first, one down. Hey, it's the premiere of Full Court Press, if you haven't heard, on ABC and ESPN+, a 4-part docuseries featuring Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardoso, and Kiki Rice. Tomorrow at 12:30 and 1:30. Don't miss it. Full Court Press on ABC. Bottom of the order here for Florida, it would be 8, 9, and 1 due up for Missouri. Their last chance in the top of the 7th. An impressive finish as any we've seen around the country for the Gators. On the brink of going 9-1 in their last 10 games, every single one of them against a ranked opponent. And some of those in dominating fashion. Tim Walton said, "We turned up the volume." And the noise has been heard.
Well, it's all about momentum, right? It's a momentum game on the field, and once that team grabs that momentum, you grab that confidence level, and it's hard to beat a confident team.
Their RPI has jumped from 19 up to 8. They weren't even sure 3 weeks ago if they'd be hosting. Now they might be home for both the regionals and the supers if they keep winning the next 2 weekends. We get to find out who's going to go to Gainesville and who's going to go to Columbia tomorrow night on the selection show. 2 down on the pop-up. A lot of folks are curious, where is, say, Miami of Ohio going to go with all those home run hitters? Where's Maddie Agroff going? And Jessica Mullins, Southern Illinois and Texas State, 2 of the top pitchers in the country. Who gets to head out west? Will they only have the 2 sites at UCLA and Stanford? Looks like that's a probability now.
What's going to be the biggest shock? Because there's always one every year where you scratch your head and you're like, really?
Yeah, I think it'll be who's hosting and who's not hosting and who's showing up as a 2 seed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That someone is like, oh boy.
Well, 2 seed to a 1 seed that you're like, oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
You got wedgied.
There's some big names out there that might be on the road. Michigan might be coming to town. Clemson and Virginia Tech. Washington and Oregon.
Yep.
Baylor.
And a group of very good SEC teams as well that'll be on the road going somewhere.
With some other upsets, too. There may be some bid stealers. How many does Conference USA get? How many does the Sun Belt get and the American get?
Yeah, Sun Belt. South Alabama is very good. Louisiana. Texas State won it, but
yeah. Florida knows, by the way, about Michigan. They beat it. Wolverines beat them twice this year. They're playing the Big Ten championship game today against Indiana, and they won that one. So they are your Big Ten tournament champs. They've been a hot team of late. We missed both Michigan and Arizona last year in the tournament. I think Arizona had been 35 years in a row, Michigan 28 years in a row. They're both going to be back this year. and will have to be dealt with. And back here in Auburn, Alabama, will it be the freshman Keegan Rothrock to pick up all 3 wins for the Gators in the circle? Go the distance today? She's been so efficient, the pitch count has been irrelevant.
Well, a lot of that is because of her strike percentage. She's just been outstanding, efficient, hasn't issued the free passes. And then when you have an offense that's putting up crooked numbers for you, it allows you to make a couple of mistakes, although she's been rock solid.
Ball.
Well, the only one that's really hit her hard has been Jenna Laird. All 3 of her at bats. She'll be up 3rd. Biggest chance at putting some runs on usually is going to include her.
And the strikeout for McCann. So, and their championship game is on deck. And then we close out the night from the Pac-12 with Utah and UCLA. And here we go for Missouri, their last chance. Claire Cahalan, it's 8-9, and then the top. All 3, Cahalan, Langer, and Laird, do have a hit today. Keegan Rothrock, the 1 run on 6 hits allowed, that's it. The last Gator pitcher to win 3 games and a title at the SEC tournament, Kelly Barnhill. One-two pitch, got her, 1 down.
Well, Rothrock has been outstanding with her strike count, her strike percentage. 66 on the year is that percentage. She's been over 70% in all 3 of her starts here. And that pitch, that's a screwball well out of zone, continuing to get Missouri hitters to chase here late in the game.
Here's Kaylee Langer. Popped up, and that'll get out of play. A Florida team that had to revamp its entire pitching staff. An influx of freshmen. Their batting order, returning the SEC Player of the Year right there, and adding another this year through the transfer portal. Langer gets hit by the pitch and a base runner here, and back to the top of the order. So much change in the offseason for the Gators, and they've managed to put it all back together and finish with a flourish. Here's Jenna Laird.
Ball.
She and Honold will try and extend it, the 4-year starters together. Catches the corner.
Ball, little far.
How about the fact, too, that as Holly Rowe was reporting earlier tonight, part of the Florida success, a tip of the cap to Florida State, because their run rule of the Gators is what got all of this started down the stretch and perhaps awakened the sleeping giant.
Yeah. And that all kind of happened and fell apart in 1 inning, and that's, I think, was the lesson. It was pitching, it was errors, it was not capitalizing on hits, and made them refocus on every aspect, every facet of the game, and they've refocused for sure.
A terrific run by Missouri as well to get into this championship game, playing a 4th game in 4 days to probably solidify their resume as a top 8 seed. Laird peppering her own dugout. Full count.
Ball.
Walked her. Back-to-back free passes after she had held that in check.
Credit that to Jenna Laird, too, and the fact that Rothrock knew she could not.
Here's Honnold.
Ball.
.350 hitter this year with a runner in scoring position. And a double play to end it for the Florida Gators, and the celebration is underway with a record-tying Numbers so far for Rothrock. Just the one run allowed.
And that's the pitch that's been the difference maker for today. Just screwball in the inner half, kind of setting up and establishing that inside corner of the plate.
Ball.
Popped up left side. Wallace calls for it. Side retired. A couple stranded for the Tigers. 6-1 Gators.